I'm Nicole, the host, and today I'm going to be talking with all of you about literacy and inspiring lifelong learners by developing a love of reading in your kids from the time they're very, very little. And you can start when your children are babies, and by the time they get to preschool, you can develop a habit of reading, whether it be in the evening at bedtime or any other time when you want to sit down and have quiet time with your kids. It's a great way to do that by fostering that love of reading. So I'm going to wait for the live viewers to join us. They've just been notified, and then we'll get started with the program today. So get comfy and grab something to drink, some coffee or tea or whatever you like. And if your kids are with you, this is a family-friendly show, so they can sit with you on the couch, or if you're on the go and you're watching the show from the mobile app, then wherever you're at, thank you so much for taking a break from your day to spend it with me. Hello, welcome to the Break from Moms. Today we are talking all about literacy and early literacy especially, and how you can foster a love of reading with your kids from the time they're really, really little. And I've been really working hard to do that with my own kids. With my first child, I started right away reading when he was a very, very small baby. And, even before I thought he even understood anything that I was reading, I felt like it was important just to talk and have him hear sounds and hear words. And, it's a big step in getting babies to babble. And it's very, important for them to just hear words out loud. So I would do that with my son. And at a very early age, he was very interested in the alphabet. And that has gone on to make him, a very good beginning reader. He's in kindergarten now, and he's very interested in reading. But I wasn't one of those parents that focused on getting him to read before he was ready. So I think sometimes we feel like we have to keep up with other people. And, you take your kid to preschool, and if other kids are already reading, independently, you feel like, oh my goodness, I'm behind. I've got to get my kid reading. And that doesn't necessarily mean that they have to be reading independently. If you're reading with your child, reading to your child, these are all really important steps to build that foundation. And I think it's more important to build that foundation than to rush through getting your child to be an independent reader. It's a process, it's a continuum. And I'm so excited that I have Tara Clancy joining me. She is a former reading specialist and now is a reading coach. She's going to tell you all about what she has learned along the way, and she's going to kind of dispel some of those myths that are out there about getting your kid to be a successful reader. There's a lot of information out there, and we want to set the record straight today. So she's going to join me about midway through the program, and I'm so excited for her to share her tips. And she's going to also present you with some information on how you can learn more and get some coaching on how to help your kids, especially if you have struggling readers. They don't have to struggle, and there are answers. Even if they're struggling at school and you feel like you're not sure what to do, there are ways to help your child. They don't have to struggle, and it doesn't have to be a battle. We want your kids to enjoy reading. So that's what today's program is mainly about, is just making sure that that love of reading is already there. Okay, that's the first step. So anyhow, thank you for taking a break from your day. If this is your first time watching The Break from Moms, thanks so much for joining me. I started this show back in September of 2016 because I wanted a place where moms could connect, and because I felt like it was so important for moms to just take a break from everything else that they're doing, to just be supported by other moms. And also dads, if you're a dad and you're watching, the show is for you as well. It's called The Break from Moms because I happen to be a mom. But of course, many of the topics on the show can be topics that are of interest to not only dads, but anyone else that's a caregiver of children, especially younger children. I've had grandparents on the show, you name it. So if you take care of a child in any capacity, I hope that you enjoy this show and find some useful information that you can use to help you in your daily life with raising kids, and that you can pass it along and share it with your friends and family. So speaking of sharing, did you know that The Break from Moms is on social media, not only on Bidchat, this network, but also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter? All you have to do is search for The Break from Moms. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and also Pinterest. I am starting to pin some boards related to my programs, and I'm also going to share the archived videos on Pinterest as well, and YouTube. So if you normally are not available at 1 p.m. Eastern time on Mondays, you can subscribe to my blog and get the videos sent directly to your inbox so that you don't miss another episode. Here's what you need to do. Go to www.thebreakformoms.com with the number 4 and click subscribe. At the top, there's a bar. You just put in your email address, and I promise you, you're not going to get more than 1 email a week from me, and probably not even that, maybe every 2 weeks, as I'm trying desperately to keep up with the blog and the show and raising 3 kids of my own. Wow, it is a big task. I have a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. And yes, I have my hands full, as many of you do as well. So I understand what it's like to be a struggling mom. And, you know, every day is different. Some days are easier, some days are harder. But I want to go on this journey with all of you and make some friends along the way. So here's what you can do to chat with me live during the show. If you have a mobile device, such as a cell phone or a tablet, you can download the Bidchat app. That app is free from the Google Play or the App Store for Apple devices. And when you download that app, you're going to create a free account. Just put in your email address and create a username and a password. You probably want to do your regular name if you want me to know who you are, because it will be displayed during the show. And then you are able to call into the show. And Tara Clancy, our guest for today, is going to be calling in, and you'll get to see how that process works. But it basically looks just like a Skype or a FaceTime call. I'm here, and then whoever's calling is here in the corner, and we see each other, and the live viewers also see you. So it's two-way live streaming. That's why Bidchat is different from Facebook live streaming or YouTube live streaming or YouNow or all of the other platforms that you might be familiar with that allow live streaming. So it's very, very exciting. And, you know, having people call into the show is really my main goal. I want this to be a place where people can connect and interact. Otherwise, it's just me talking at you. And, you know, I don't get to meet you. I don't know who's watching me. I don't know where you're from. I'd like to learn about you, learn about your family makeup. And you are free to ask questions, make comments, or just share a funny story, anything that you want to share. It's low pressure, it's casual, and you don't have to be perfectly polished to call in. You know, a lot of people fear that they have to practice before they call in, or, you know, they have to be really comfortable on camera. You don't. Just imagine it as a conversation with one of your girlfriends or one of your friends or family members. It's that simple. So if you want to call into the show and you are on the Bidchat app, here's what you need to do. You need to click on this video of me that you see, and it will open up a menu. And at the bottom, it will say bid to join the show, and you'll see a plus and a minus sign. And, you know, if you hit that plus up, it'll change the amount of minutes that you can call into the show for. And when you see the desired number of minutes, you just simply click join the show at the bottom. There's like a rectangular bar right underneath that plus and minus. Click on that and you will be connected, and you'll see, congratulations, you have won the bid. And of course, the bidding is free right now. Even if it says a certain amount of coins, it's supposed to be free right now because this is a promotional period while Bidchat is still a relatively new network. So it doesn't cost you anything, just a little bit of time to set up an account and figure out how to get through those couple of screens. So feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions. You can email me directly at Nicole, Nicole, at thebreakformoms.com with the number 4. Make sure across social media that you put the number 4 in there for The Break for Moms. Okay, so I've said it. I've told you a little bit about the show and how you can call in and interact with me. Thank you for those of you giving me thumbs up. If you are registered with an account on Bidchat, you have the opportunity to interact with me in a variety of ways, not just calling into the show, but giving me thumbs up. If you see that thumbs up, thank you. I got another one from somebody. Did you know that you can give me 5 per day? You can give up to 5 per day. So if you like what you're hearing, instantly give me that thumbs up. That tells me, you know, it gives me feedback. I need feedback. Otherwise, it's just me wondering what other people are thinking because I can't see you and I don't get comments in live real time, I should say, like Facebook. So that's a way that you can interact with me. And you can also message me within the Bidchat app if you are a follower of the show. So here's what you need to do. Regardless, if you have an account and you can interact, click on the red heart. Well, actually, it's not red until you click on it. Click on the heart below this video, or it might be on the side. I can't remember. Click on that heart icon. It should be near the thumbs up. When you click on it, it will turn red, and then that means you are an official follower of the show. So every time I go live, you will get a notification. So if you have the app on your phone, you'll see a notification on your phone or your tablet letting you know that I'm going live so you don't miss the next show. And do me a favor and mark next Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern time on your calendar so you come back next week. And again, if you can't tune in normally at 1 p.m. Eastern time, 10 a.m. on the West Coast, then please subscribe to that blog, okay? And I'll tell you about that again at the end of the program. Okay, so it's 1:12. We've got about a little more than 15 minutes before our special guest joins us. But before we get into the main topic of the day, literacy and early literacy and inspiring lifelong love of reading, I want to lighten up the mood just a bit. So let's talk about the National Day today. There's a website called nationaldaycalendar.com. And every day you can go to it and you can find out what the national holiday of the day is, not just Easter or Christmas or Halloween or Veterans Day, you know, all those common holidays, but also these little holidays that most people don't know about. So today is National Joe Day. Now that could mean cup of Joe if you like coffee, but it also is referring to the name Joe. So if you know somebody named Joe, you can wish them a happy National Joe Day. And you can play a game with your kids where, you know, today everybody's name gets changed to some version of Joe. So if it's a boy, you could say Joe or Joseph. If it's a girl, they could be Josephine. And you can just have fun with it, okay? So every week on the show, I've been trying to have this National Calendar Day segment where I tell you what the day is, and then I tell you how you can kind of, you know, do something fun with your day. It's always fun to get new ideas with kids on fun activities to do. So I'm sure you could run wild with, you know, changing your name to Joe or Josephine for the day, and kids would get a big kick out of it. I know my kids definitely would. Even older kids would probably find that funny, especially high schoolers maybe that want to, you know, play a trick on their friends and, I don't know, be funny for the day. So keep that in mind, or enjoy some coffee as your cup of Joe and share with some friends and enjoy that. So I'm sure you can find some more ideas on Pinterest. Pinterest is my new best friend. You go on Pinterest, you can search for The Break from Moms, and I try to post as I talk about these different national calendar days. I try to do a board just on that holiday. So I'll have to go through there and find some ideas for what you can do for National Joe Day on there. I'm sure a lot of them have to do with coffee if you like coffee. Anyhow, okay, so let's move on. So we're going to talk about literacy today. Before my special guest joins me, I want to just show you some of my favorite things that I think have helped my 5-year-old with, you know, inspiring a love of reading and just getting him excited about practicing reading. And I do want to say first and foremost that I read out loud to him a lot, as well as my other younger children. Reading out loud, believe it or not, is helping your child to learn how to read. We think that they're not practicing unless they're doing the reading, but that is not the case. They're learning fluency, inflection, and, you know, the rhythm of pausing for commas and periods, and just the flow of reading out loud. So it's really important to continue to read to your kids. And even as they get older and they aren't independent readers, it's still a good idea to read to your kids. I don't know how many of you remember your experiences in high school, but I remember being in my English classes and sometimes my teachers read out loud to the class. So it's really important. We tend to forget about that and not do that as much as our kids get older. But if you have older children, consider maybe having, you know, one night of the week, a family night, where you just read, even if it's a small passage of a book of their choice, you know, or poetry, whatever it is that interests your children, and you know, do something together as a family, and it would be very, very interesting, and it'll help kind of build a bond with you and, you know, keep your relationship strong because you're communicating through the reading. Okay. So I'm going to start with some of my favorites here. I like these. They're the Tab Junior books, and I bought these for my son long before he started reading because I liked the idea of him being able to follow the books independently with this little guy. So this is Scout. If you know about, you know, the Leapfrog products, there's Scout, and then there's the girl. I don't remember what the girl is. She's purple, I believe. Anyhow, turn it on. Oops, let's see. Can you hear that?
Yay, you're back, Troy.
So it's personalized. So you can go on the internet, you can plug this into your computer. Again, this is called the Tag Junior. And you can basically go to the Tag Junior website and select Tag Junior from, there's a bunch of different products. And then there's a way for you to select the books that you own, and then you download them to this device. Okay, so here's some of the ones I have. I have a set that's about, it's called the Getting Ready to Read series. And How Are You Feeling is one of them. There's one about a new baby. I got these for my son when he was 3, and it kind of went in line with potty training. We had a new baby in the house. I don't have all of them here, but these are some of them. And, you know, there's not a ton of pages, but basically you can click on the pages with this guy. It's so cool. And it reads the book for you. Oops. I think I might have turned it off. Let me turn it back on. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's try this again. Okay. So you can take this, and it's got like a little camera, you know, I don't know exactly how it works, but you can see a light in there, and it kind of picks up.
Ice cream and spending time with my friends. That makes me happy.
So you can touch on the pictures and hear some fun things, but you can also actually hear the story read.
I'm playing with my friends and we're feeling fine. We're all eating ice cream in the warm sunshine.
Pretty cool. And then there's some musical sounds. So it's not just reading. There's a variety of things that they can do. Very, very cute. So again, this is called Tag Junior. This is a great one for young kids, toddlers. You know, as long as they can hold this and they can push it and set it on, they have to set it right on the pictures. They might need to be shown how to do that several times, but this is a good one. And even when they're starting to read, they still enjoy doing this because of all the fun sounds. So there's a bunch of these books. They sell them at Toys R Us. I got some on Amazon. These are great, and we've used these a ton. There's a Sesame Street one with the alphabet too that I really like. It has a lot of fun sounds. Okay, so that's that. And then, you know, when they start reading, you can get a bunch of different books that have letters and you can spell words. This one is Leapfrog also. And I also have a movie. I had it by me. I don't know what I did with it. But Leapfrog makes a lot of stuff that has to do with letters, and this one's 3-letter words. I got this used at a mom-to-mom sale. I don't know how much it regularly costs, but I only paid $2 for it. So that's a neat little idea too, is just getting books with activities. Kids like to flip these, even if they're not spelling anything, it's just fun. And then eventually, once they figure out how to spell 3-letter words, they'll come back to this book and they'll want to do that. So, you know, these are different ideas for you. Let's see what else. Oh, I got this. My son was not reading independently at all yet when I got this. I got this for him in preschool, but I like that there was a guide for playing a little sight word game. So this is a Paw Patrol set, and it says 12 book phonics set. So, you know, the books initially were way too hard for him. I can just show you. There were lots of words, you know, for a child that's in preschool, this was just too much for him, for my son personally. But what I did was I went to the front, and they give you a list of words that are in the book, and you can pick just one word. And then as you're reading through the book, you ask your child to just find that word. So they have to recognize that one word. And it makes it so simple because they're not having to read everything. They're not getting overwhelmed. You're really breaking it down to just one sight word that they have to find. And it makes it fun because it's, you know, it's like a word search. It's like a scavenger hunt, you know? So my son really enjoyed doing that. And each one of these books, there's a bunch of different sets. If you have your kid in preschool or kindergarten or, you know, whatever age they are, if you have access to one of those Scholastic book catalogs or Scholastic Book Fair, these were all purchased through that. Okay. And don't underestimate mom-to-mom sales, garage sales, used book sales at your library. You can get a lot of great things without spending a ton of money. You can see, look at these books all have lower price tags because I did not pay full price for any of these. And in fact, a neighbor gave me these, so I didn't pay anything for them. So sight word tales, my son loves these. He's 5, he's in kindergarten, and he's still learning how to read, but he's doing really well. And these are fun for him. And it tells you what the sight words are that you're trying to master with this book. And it doesn't give you many, only 4. And then your child can read the book. And then those sight words are in bold. And they can, use clues from the pictures to help them to read. And that's okay. It's not cheating. I always tell my son, look at the pictures. What does that look like if he can't pronounce a word? So it goes through the book with those sight words. And then there's a little activity at the end that they can do, and it kind of just tests for understanding. So there's sentences, and it gives you those sight words in the box, and then they have to fill them in. These were written in before when we got the book, but it gives you an idea. So there's some fun, like, little games, and then there's a little cheer in the back that uses the sight words. So all of those books have a story, and then the little comprehension quizzes in the back. My son loves those quizzes. He can't wait to get to the end. So here's just a couple of those. And then I love these level 1 readers. I'm trying to see who makes these. Green Light Reader is this brand, Green Light Reader. I got this one at the library. See how it says level 1? Kindergartners, first grade, they're kind of level 1. Here's another one, Step Into Reading. That's through Random House Publishing. So there's Step Into Reading. You can do level 1 for beginners. And then what did I say again here? Green Light Reader. Get ready to read level 1. And these are great. And there's not a ton of words on there. And some of the harder ones like George and window, they can figure out just from the pictures. So even though it looks like it might be a little bit too hard for them, if they're just starting with sight words and 3-letter words, they can still figure out a lot from the pictures. So it's important right away to teach your kids to take clues from the pictures. Let me show you one more brand. Let's see what brand this one. This one says I Can Read Book Club, an early I Can Read book. There's a lot of these at the library. We own this one, but there's tons at the library. So utilize your library and ask the librarian if you're not sure. Station Stop Number 1, All Aboard Reading. And this one is Meet the Little Engine That Could, so a popular story. This one has a few stories in it, but look, there's not a lot of words on the pages. You don't want to have too many words on the pages, or beginning readers tend to get overwhelmed. Or there's also, I don't have it with me here, but there's books where like the child reads one page and then you read the other page. So they have an easy page and then like a harder page. And on each page that you take turns. So you go through the book and you're reading together. So that's a good idea too. I wish I would have grabbed that one, but I don't have it. But you can check and see if those are at the library as well. So you don't have to buy things. Anyhow, thank you for the thumbs up. And thank you to all of you who are just joining. Welcome to the Break from Moms. Today, we are talking about literacy and fostering a love of reading in your kids. So the Break from Moms show is not only about resources that I want to give you and that I want my special guests to share with you, but also just a chance for us to come together, take a break from what we're doing, have some me time, enjoy some conversation, and feel supported. So I want to let you know, if you are someone that has a young reader at home and you're struggling or you're not sure what to do, it's okay. Tell yourself that you're doing a good job and that as soon as you get the tools, from today, that you can do this, and you don't have to be competing with other people around you. If your kid is not the first kid in preschool to be an independent reader, that's okay. They have time. Don't compare yourself to other people. I did that for a while when I was in preschool, or when my son was in preschool, and I heard that other kids in the class were already reading, primarily girls, interestingly. I felt like, oh my goodness, am I not doing something? Maybe I need to get started. But he wasn't ready, and it didn't really matter that he wasn't ready, because now he's in kindergarten and he reads very, very well. He is not having any trouble. He's doing great. So it didn't matter that I wasn't the first to start him. It didn't matter that extra year. It's just getting him to be happy and healthy and like reading. That's more important than the actual skill of independent reading when they're little. Do you want to come and join me? I see one of my kids here next to me. Do you want to come and join me? Maybe we can read a book. Come here. I'd like for you to show everybody this. Look at it. Come here. I was telling everybody about these books. This is my daughter, Giada. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Come sit closer to me. Come sit a little closer, see, so that you can see yourself. Yep. Okay. So how about this one? I like this one. It says, how are you feeling? Let's turn it on, and you can show everybody this book. And then our special guest, Tara Clancy, will be joining, so please don't go anywhere. She is a former reading specialist, and she is also a reading coach, and she's got a great webinar about fostering reading and, you know, having a healthy, emotionally, physically healthy child that has a love of reading. So I can't wait for her to join us in about 4 minutes here. So hang tight. Giada's going to show you just how much she loves these books, and then we will move on to our main topic of the program. So can you show everybody? Come closer and sit on my lap and do it. So she can do it by herself. She's 3, but she can do this no problem, and she can read her book. So tap it here so everybody can see. Oops. Uh-oh. Don't want to drop it. Pick it up. Come sit back on my lap. Okay. All right, so I'm going to hold it up, and you tap the page. Tap him. You tap him. Did it turn off? I think it might have turned off because we dropped it. Let's try again. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Ready? Wait. Okay.
I did it! I got dressed all by myself.
Okay, touch something else.
I can get dressed all by myself.
Touch something else.
Reach up high.
Ooh, do something on this page. Do something on this page. All right, touch the words. Let's hear the story. Touch the words. Where are the words? Yeah.
When you feel proud, when you feel good about something you can do, you feel proud.
So it teaches vocabulary. Touch the words. Let's hear the story.
I can get dressed all by myself.
Now do this one.
Reach up high.
Ooh.
I can get dressed all by myself. I can get dressed all by
Now hit right here. Oops.
all by myself. I can get dressed all by myself.
Yep, it's reading it all. You don't even have to touch the other page. All right, let's turn the page. Let's do one more for everybody. Just one more. Just one time. So you don't want to hit it too many times or it keeps repeating the same thing. Let's touch right here.
Can't find the toy that was here last night. Frustrated.
He's frustrated.
Get what you want. You may feel frustrated.
So you can see she's very interested in this, right? You like this, huh? Okay. All right, I'm going to have you go with Nana and go show her this book, okay? So go with Nana. Here, you can take these two and this one. Okay, you want these two? Here, take these ones too. My mom is over helping with my 3-year-old, and my 1-year-old is sleeping. This is her nap time, so that's good. And my 5-year-old's at school. So I am enjoying having a little bit of a break from being mom for an hour. Okay, so I'm going to keep my phone by me, Tara, as I know that you are going to be trying to call in here, and hopefully I'm going to cross my fingers that we don't have any issues today. With live streaming, you just never know what's going to happen. It's, you know, dependent on internet connection, and, you know, so many things can go wrong. So bear with me if for any reason when you're watching this show, all of a sudden I disappear, or you can't hear me, or, you know, the picture is not very good quality. Just hang in there because it's live streaming and it takes a lot of data to do this, and a good strong internet connection, which can easily be shaken by weather patterns or, you know, a host of other glitches within the website or the app. So, okay, Tara, I'm going to invite you to call into the show, and let's talk here about some of those myths related to reading and teaching your kid a love of reading and helping them be a strong reader. And thank you to those giving me the thumbs up. For those of you just joining, that's a great way to let myself and our special guest, Tara, know that you like what we're talking about and that it's interesting and you find it helpful. You can do up to 5 thumbs up per day. So feel free to give us more if you really, really like what we're talking about today. That is very helpful feedback. Okay, so she's going to call in here in a second. You'll get to see what it looks like when we do 2-way live streaming, kind of like a Skype or FaceTime call with me here and her in the corner. I can't wait to have her call in. So there's a little bit of a delay, so it might take a second for her to see me or me to see her. So if it looks like we're not in sync a minute, it's because it's live streaming. Okay, thank you. And Tara is about to call in. So I'm going to cross my fingers, Tara. Let me know if for some reason it's not working. Hopefully it will work today. Thank you for the thumbs up. I see an extra thumbs up. I'm going to ask her a question just to make sure that she is saying. Okay. So sorry for the delay. We're trying to get her to call in so that we can talk. I'm crossing my fingers here that it's going to work. In the meantime, I would love to know what your questions are related to literacy and reading specific to your children. So you can email me, you can send me a message on Facebook through the Break for Moms. But if you want to email me, just simply type Nicole@thebreakformoms.com, NICOLE at thebreakformoms.com with the number 4. Okay, I can't get the bidding screen to pop up. Okay, let's see here. 1 second. Okay, I'm going to try something while I have all of you here. I need to try to open this up, but without, I don't want to mess up. I'm afraid if I open this app that it's going to mess up and I'm going to lose my connection, Tara. So I don't want to open up the app while I'm live on the website, because if I do that, it will cause the show to end up going off live. So I don't want to do that. Tara, just try, maybe close out the app again. I'm so sorry. It was working the other day for me. I don't know what's going on. Let's try. Let me see what else I can do. Let's see. Thank you to everybody for being patient while we're trying to get this to work. I don't want to end the broadcast. Okay. And I don't want to, oh, there it goes. Okay, yay. Okay. Woo, okay. This live streaming stuff makes me nervous sometimes because I just can't depend on it 100%. Okay, Tara, I see that it says 18 seconds on the auction clock. So I'm going to cross my fingers here that this works, because we've got lots of people watching and they want to hear all about what you have to say. And I do too, because I need some more tips. I want to make sure I'm doing everything right with my kids, especially my younger ones that, have not started reading yet, but are listening to me read to them. Okay, it says connecting.
Hello.
That's a good sign. Yay, it worked.
Hey, hi. I had to go on my cell phone. My iPad would not work, but here we are. We made it.
Thank you so much for your time. I'm so sorry that wasn't as easy as it should have been.
No problem. It's technology, right?
Yeah. So it's cool, right? Isn't this awesome?
It is awesome.
So we have 161 viewers so far.
All right. Hello, everyone.
Yeah. So, Tara, let's just start out. Tell me a little bit about your background.
Sure. So I'm a reading specialist by training, and I've been working with kids and their families for over 20 years. I work primarily with kids who really struggle with reading, kids with dyslexia, kids with language-based learning problems that interfere with reading. Through all of that, you're working with kids who can't read, but you also end up seeing a ton of kids who just don't read, kids who have no really major problems, but have just sort of turned off of reading. And so what I've been doing is trying to talk to parents and trying to give them information that will really help them engender a really strong love of reading in their young children, so that the kids will carry that forward with them, right in through their adulthood, really.
And how important is it, to start right away? You see people that are trying to read to their newborn baby. I mean, it's like, when do you start?
Yeah, I agree with that newborn baby thing. I mean, that's really what I started with my children as well, because, if you think about what reading is, it's really just language with print laid over it. So the more language exposure you can give your child, the better they will do as readers ultimately. So absolutely, the younger the better. But the challenge becomes that a lot of times there's a very narrow view of what reading is. That people think, my child can say the words, he's a reader, it's great, but that's really not what reading is. That's the skill that allows you to read, but reading is really what you do in your mind, and how you interact with the text. So very often, there's an emphasis on that print-based thing, just saying the words, and then kids come to view that as reading, and it can end up causing problems later for them, actually, just in terms of thinking that that's all that reading is, and also finding that reading can not be that exciting and not be that pleasurable. So what we really want to do is, keep all the emphasis on that higher level part of reading so that kids really come to know what it's all about, really come to appreciate it, and ultimately will want to do it on their own time,
Sure. So I have to tell you, I feel like most parents, read to their kids, when they're young, they enjoy reading to their kids. They get books as presents at baby showers. Most of us, I'd like to think, do a lot of reading with our kids. But then we get to preschool, for those of us that have kids that are preschool or older, we get to preschool, and then we start looking around and comparing with other people. And, this happened with me. My son was in preschool, and I started hearing that other kids in his class were already reading independently. And I started to feel like I was behind. Can you help dispel some of those myths about when kids should start reading, and whether or not starting early makes them a better reader?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll just show you a picture that I have here of my son, where, here he was. You can see he was about 9 months old. But to me, and then my daughter with the same thing later. But, to me, as a reading specialist, those kids were reading there. They weren't lifting any words off the page, but they were looking at the pictures. They were thinking about what it meant. They were engaged in it. And that, like I said before, is really what reading is. So the problem is when kids get to school, there's such an overemphasis now on skill-based things, and there's such a pressure on the education system to get kids reading earlier and earlier. And so we end up focusing on that print part of it, and we end up doing it really when kids are a little too young for it. So we end up, creating kids who can read, but they don't really want to read, And if you think about, what is our goal for our children? Do we want kids who can read, or do we want kids who will read? And so I think if a parent is ever feeling that kind of dilemma, and it comes up all the time, like you said, you start comparing notes, and you're like, oh my gosh, this kid is reading that whole book, and my kid is not reading any words yet. Step back, though, and say, do we interact with the text? Does my child like me to sit down and read aloud to him or her? Do they ask questions? Do they want to go to the library and borrow books? If all of those things are in place, then you are really doing, what you really can and should be doing to nurture that love of reading in your child. And the print skill can come later. It really is the smallest part of the whole reading act,
Yeah, and that's so different from what we think as parents. Hey, before you continue on, I want to tell you the clock says we only have 30 seconds. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if it's going to ask you for bid coins. Can you try to call back in again here? And I'm going to cross my fingers. Sure. Did it allow you to hit the plus and go up higher?
It looked like it. It looked like it went to 25 minutes when I did it, but maybe not. But if not, I will definitely
try again, and I hope that you can successfully call back in and it doesn't ask for any coins or anything.
Okay, I will. I'll try back, and hopefully we'll get that working.
Okay. Yeah, because I want to hear more.
Okay, great. Let's see.
Okay, thanks, Tara. Okay, so she's going to call back in again. So there you have it. That's what it looks like when you call into the show. And you don't have to be an expert. You can just be a mom like me, or a dad, or anyone else that's a caregiver of children, and call in. It's fun. It looks cool. It's fun. And, it's a neat way to interact with other people digitally, online. I mean, who would have thought? I would have never in a million years thought that someday when I was a mom, I would be talking to other people on the internet and seeing them face-to-face live. It's just mind-blowing. Really, really is. Okay, Tara, I see that you're coming back on here. So it says 15 minutes too. Awesome. Okay. It says it's connecting. So I'll wait till I see you. Thank you for those giving the thumbs up. Keep them coming. Yay, you're back.
Okay, I think we're good. I think we have 15 minutes now.
Yes, awesome. Yay. Okay. Woo! You had me nervous.
Relax. Right?
Great. Okay. Yeah. So, what you just said is fascinating because I think about my 1-year-old who I still consider to be a baby in so many ways. And she sits up and she opens books and turns the pages. And I never would have said, oh, my 1-year-old's a reader. But, when you put it in that context with them just looking and gathering information from looking at a book, that is the start.
Absolutely, and there are also all those all these pre-readiness things that kids need. This big category called concepts of print. Kids need to recognize that a book binding for us is on the left-hand side, and that we open the pages and turn this way. And typically, you'll see, pictures on top, words on the bottom. All those little things are things that, we don't even think about because it's so second nature to us. But kids are actively learning that. And that's why, Nicole, when you mentioned before about starting to read to your newborn, you're starting to do that. You're getting the language input, which is essential for kids. They're seeing that, and it's becoming, more importantly, it's becoming part of their world, that this is just something that we do. And, what are kids going to be inclined to do? Whatever you're doing. So if you're sitting there and you've got a book in your hand and you're reading out loud and you're enjoying it, kids make that association. Oh, I want to do what mom does, or, I want to do what dad does. They're not doing it on a cognitive level, but you're really securing all those kind of memories, all those positive associations, all those things. So it really does make a big difference for them going forward.
Right. Do you think that there is a difference in the types of problems that you see with readers due to the new technology that we have, and maybe kids not, using as many physical books because they're, flipping pages on a tablet or, doing something else where they're not doing so much actual page turning with physical books?
Yeah, there is an absolute loss that kids experience if they don't get that experience with three-dimensional books. When they are on the iPad, they certainly do get exposure. It gives them some degree of independence. So that's all helpful. But there's nothing quite like helping them to secure their understanding of the world by having that 3D representation, the feel of it, the way it actually works. That's really critical, especially for kids under 2. So, all parents are juggling things, and the demands on parents today are insane, as you well know, right? And all your audience is probably saying yes. But what we really want to do is use that as minimally as we can. When you need to use it, you need to use it, absolutely. But as much as possible, get those physical books into the kids' hands. Just leave a big pile of them there. I have a little basket that I always have on my floor right next to the couch so that my kids can just pull. My kids are 13 and 8 now, so it's different from, the preschooler population that you were mentioning earlier. But it's the same thing. I still want them to have the access, but early on, like you saw in those pictures that I showed you, they were sitting there engaging with books because they were just available, and it was what they saw me doing all the time with them, and how that was something that I always turned. If we had free time, we'd grab a book. I'd keep a book in my pocketbook for times when we'd be in a checkout line and just pull it out, and just really ingrain the thought that when there's free time, hey, here's some fun that we can have. And then really, that's what makes the biggest difference in really trying to nurture a love of reading in your child, is this idea that there's pleasure in this, and this is what we do, So kids take that message forward with them. Whatever you give them, they're going to take with them, right? So, why not let it be about reading?
Right. Yeah, I agree. We don't want it to just feel like homework.
Exactly.
Right?
And that's exactly what happens when kids get to school. And, part of it, I remember when my kids first started going to school, sort of like, phew, you get a little bit of a break from, the hands-on all day, every day kind of thing of parenting. But we, as parents, we really don't want to relinquish the whole reading act to the school, because then it does become homework. And it does become something that kids do because they have to do. My daughter, in the beginning of this year, she's in 3rd grade. And one day, she filled out her reading log. They have to read 20 minutes every day. She had filled out her reading log, and she was sort of trying to figure out what to do. And I said, well, why don't you read a little bit? And she said, oh, I did that already. I said, what do you mean? maybe you read the 20 minutes that you have to read for school, but there's always time for reading around here, and then sort of
Right.
I had to shift her mind away from reading being something that you do for 20 minutes because you're told to do that in school, as to more of a perspective of, hey, reading is something I do because it's enjoyable.
Right. And speaking of enjoyment, what would you say to parents watching that have a reluctant reader that doesn't enjoy reading or maybe is struggling with reading?
Yeah, so I would say two things. The first thing is, if your child does show any signs of a challenge with reading, and even for those younger kids that we were talking about before, it would show up as a language problem. Like, let's say you say something to them and they don't follow you, or when you're reading a story, they come up with a comment that is so unrelated that you're just left questioning, are they understanding what I'm saying? If you see any kind of signs of language processing challenges, definitely
Mhm.
get support as early as you can, because any language support challenges will impact reading later on. So absolutely, seek that. That aside, if there is really no glaring challenge that's showing up, a lot of times it's just a motivational thing, and often it can come from us indirectly, because like you mentioned before about seeing another child in the preschool all of a sudden like outpacing your kid and getting that, we sort of, it goes to a place for us that makes us nervous. So we
Yeah.
can sometimes impart that on our kids by accident, put a little too much pressure on it, put a little too much like of a burden where it's like, whoa, this feels like too much for the kid. So what I always do, and what I suggest to parents too, is to just kind of let the kid be in charge. Hey, we're going to go to the library today. What kind of book would you like? What kind of books do you want to look at? Or I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this story tonight. How do you want to do it? Do you want me to use an accent? Do you want me to do this? Do you want to read some of it? How do you want to do it? Do you want to actually tell me what you see going on in the pictures? And then we can see how it matches up with the way the author decided to tell the story. But give them that freedom and give them that ownership of it. It goes a lot with motivational theory, and in motivational theory, kids really need a sense of autonomy. They need to feel like they own it. So if we come into reading with a huge agenda, we're sort of pushing their needs and their ownership out of the way, and that can really decrease motivation. So as much as possible, let them kind of guide you and let them tell you. My son used to love dinosaurs. He's like 2, 3, 4 years old, and we're reading these. He's picking these huge, like encyclopedias almost of dinosaur books, and he's wanting to read these, and I'm like, sure, and then he's just picking out. We're going through the pages. He's saying, what does that picture say? What is this? And it doesn't matter if we're not reading it full. It's still engagement, and it's what he's interested in. That was the biggest factor. The only real problem with a book that big is if you're reading it at bedtime and you fall asleep with him, bam.
Right,
But
right.
other than that, like definitely like let the child guide you, and really follow their lead, because then that they're into it. And that makes a big difference. And the other thing is, like we were saying earlier about it, reading really being language based. It doesn't always have to be with a book in front of you. You can play audio tapes when your kids, especially your very young children, where they're just playing with toys or something. Have different nursery recordings of nursery rhymes playing in the background, all those kinds of things that, they're engaged, but they're still getting that language input, and the thing I like about an audio recording as opposed to a video recording is because it's just occupying one sense. They're still free to go along and check out and explore and do things, but they're getting that input as they're doing that. So yeah, so really think about the motivation, and then think about the language input all the time. That's crucial.
Well, that makes me feel better because sometimes my kids just want me to make up a story at night. So I'm not necessarily reading a book per se, but they're active with me in the story developing process.
Yeah.
And I'll start the story out, and then they have all these wild ideas that they want me to add to the story, and they love to do that.
Absolutely. And then that's perfect, because it gets at the motivational piece that we're talking about. They're absolutely engaged, and what do they want most of all? They want you. Right. And they want your time, and they want to hear it coming from you. So you're hitting all the marks with that. And then what you could do, let's say you record it, just, you know, with your phone, you just make an audio recording. That could be something that you play for your child later on while they're playing. They get to hear your story, because kids need that repetition. You know, how many times does your child ask you to read Goodnight Moon to you? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's because they're trying to internalize all the vocabulary, the concepts, the structure of the story, all those things. So if it's your own personal story and they get to hear it repeatedly, that's ideal. And then
That's a great idea.
yeah, and it also frees you up, because you know they're going to be engaged, so you can go and do a Bidchat or do whatever you need to
Right,
do.
right. Yeah, very good idea.
Yeah,
I'm going to put that one in the back of my head.
Yeah.
Well, Tara, it's been so great talking with you. I want to make sure that everybody has time to hear about how they can reach out to you and how you can further help people, because I'm sure they have so many questions, you know, that they'd like to ask you. So how can people reach out to you, and, you know, what kind of programs do you have to offer people that want to learn more?
Sure. Okay. I have my website. This is just my little thing. It's nurturingliteracy.com. And there, you know, I have a blog, and I have, you know, a variety of resources, especially for parents of young children. For example, I have how to use wordless books. There's a blog on how to use wordless books to really, you know, grow a grateful reader. And there's a download available of like the top 5 wordless books in our house, kind of classic ones. I also, I have I'm going to be launching a YouTube channel next month where
that's exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting. And that will be really, I'll have these segments called 2 Minutes with Tara, where I'll just answer people's questions and just different things on reading with kids and developing language. And really, you know, my big goal is to get parents to look at how kids feel both physically and emotionally as part of, you know, as part of the reading thing that they're doing. And then also next week, I have a webinar that I'm going to be posting. I haven't posted it yet. I'm posting it on Thursday, but on Wednesday, April 6th, I have a webinar called Nurturing a Love of Reading in Your Preschooler. And it's really showing how to use the brain-based strategies to really make lasting memories for your child, so that love of reading carries right through the school age and into adulthood. So if anybody was interested in that, they could sign up at my website for the newsletter, and then they would get information on Thursday when I send out that the posting of that webinar.
Great. And I just saw that you're on Instagram. So I followed you on Instagram. Yeah. Tell everybody your Instagram name.
Sure. It's at Nurturing Lit, you know, LIT. Yeah, that's true. I forgot about that.
Yeah, no, I just, right before I started the show, I discovered that. So
yeah, awesome.
I will follow you on there, and hopefully others will too.
Yeah, excellent.
Well, thank you so much, Tara. I appreciate your time with the technology here, and of course, all of the great information that you shared with us. I'm going to be taking a lot of those tips that you shared and applying it as soon as, you know, my kids are ready tonight. At night is our bedtime, you know, our bedtime routine includes reading. That's always the time I like to do it. I feel like it helps my kids to relax.
Absolutely.
And prepare to sleep too. They get comfy, and, you know, that's our really special time together.
It is.
I always look, it's a sacred time.
Yeah. And you're making great memories for them when you do it at bedtime. So I love it. Perfect. All right. Thank you so much, too, Nicole. It was wonderful.
Thank you. And good luck with your webinar.
Thank you so much. Have a great afternoon.
You too. Bye. Well, she was just great. Thank you so much again, Tara. It's so great to have other people on the show, because I don't want this show to be about me. I really want it to be about all moms. And, you know, I like having other people on the show to share their expertise and, you know, their experiences, because as parents, sometimes we feel like we have to know it all and do it all ourselves. And that is not the case. It couldn't be further from the truth. It really does. I know this sounds cliche, but it really does take a village to raise a child. And you know, further into parenting I get, the more I realize I don't have to have all the answers, and it's okay to ask people for help. You know, it's okay to reach out to other people. That doesn't make you a bad parent. It makes you a parent that wants to learn and grow. Think about, you know, in your job or, you know, any other aspect of your life where you try to grow and learn and improve yourself and what you're doing. The same is true for being a parent. That it's not a sign of weakness or failure. It's a sign that you're trying to get better, and that's okay. So we need to stick together. Make sure you have other, you know, parents, other mom friends that you connect with. And I see we have another caller. Maria, hi. I see you.
Hi.
Hey.
Turn this? Or can you
Yes.
do you go like that?
Yes.
Does that work?
Yes, that's perfect.
Awesome. What's up?
Hey, thank you for calling in. I've been thinking about you. I'm sorry I haven't had a chance to call into your show.
No, me too. I saw your guest, Tara, and I wanted to call and just say she was amazing. I've been
Wasn't
listening.
she?
I've been doing my hair and listening and watching, thinking, this is why Bidchat is so cool. I had to call in and just say, that was awesome. I'm loving this.
Thank you. Yes, I'm sure she's probably still listening, and hopefully she heard that. If not, I'll pass on the compliment.
Yeah, and I like that she talked to Nicole about young kids as well as older kids because I have a child her child's age, and I struggle with it myself with reading. I'm a TV baby, so I was listening going what she was saying was true. I could do with motivation and more audio and try to change my habits to influence my young son because when you get into the grades, first grade, second grade, it's so academic that it starts to feel like a chore. It's horrible.
Yes.
So yeah, I found that so helpful. I'm going to go to her Instagram and follow her, but I loved everything. I loved the first segment of the show where you were talking about just subtle ways to have your child interact, not just the speed in which they regurgitate words.
Right. Right. And I don't know, do you still do it, at third grade, do you still read out loud a lot to your son?
I read out loud every night. I mean, that's like our ritual, right? But even that, when you get into, he's at a parochial private school, he has to read, like she was saying, 20 minutes a night. And then your time, he's doing homework sometimes for 2 hours a day.
Wow.
So that cuts into your 30 minutes you used to read together. Now it's like 8. You used to read 10 pages. Now it's 1 page and hurry up, you have to go to bed. But her, just having the audio in the background was such a great idea. And just making your kids remind them, hey, it's not just the 20 minutes. You could just do it, on your off time. Whereas now I'm like, okay, if you're on Minecraft for 30 minutes, you need to get off of that for an hour and then do something else. But reading is like the last thing, because
I know
it starts to feel like a chore.
Right. I've been doing audio in the car because there's so many books I want to read and learn from. Certain libraries have like a digital service where you can download free audiobooks. My library participates in a program called Hoopla,
Ooh.
Hoopla. But your library might have something similar where you can download free audiobooks and literally I pull it up on my phone and play it while I'm driving.
Wait, you can download it for free?
There's certain ones that are available through your library.
Okay.
Ask them if they belong to any kind of digital, subscription for audiobooks, even movies where you can download it to your tablet or your phone.
Okay, I'm going to look for that. I tried once to get it in CDs, but I don't, Nicole, it's so difficult to change habits and sort of go to the library and get the time. But just hearing your show motivates me to dedicate more time to that. Wait, and I had a Bidchat random question. How did you get her to call in and get 15 minutes? What was that about?
Yeah, I discovered this. Yeah, that was kind of my whole holdup with having guests on the show is I couldn't figure out a way to do it. The Manicam software wasn't working for me. So when you go through all the steps to go live yourself, you can change the minimum call time from 1 minute to 5 minutes.
Okay.
So when you hit the plus, it goes up by increments of 5.
So you changed your increment to 15 minutes?
I changed it to 5. And then when she hit the plus, she could go 5, 10, 15, 20.
Oh, cool. So then she could increase the increment herself to 15.
Yes.
But then why did she have to call in twice?
Because the first time I think she thought she had hit a higher number and she hadn't.
So interesting, the site. I mean, every time I come on, I'm just like, we are so lucky. And hearing your show and hearing the guest be on for 20 minutes, I was like, okay, I get it now. I get the premise of it. I get we're having to catch up technology-wise, but once you sort of see it in action and then you get comfortable, it's actually really cool.
It is really cool. I know I was nervous that it wasn't going to work today, you know, because sometimes with the technology, you never know if the call's going to go through.
Well, and I was sitting there with bated breath, Nicole, going, because you were like, is she going to call in? Let me text her. And I'm thinking, is it going to work? I don't know.
I know.
I didn't know you could get 15 minutes. Amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So, you know, I'm kind of wondering here what the future is going to hold from Bidchat. I tried getting a hold of Patrick, but I have not been able to get a hold of him.
I just emailed him not too long ago because I was struggling with like downloading it to my YouTube channel, but they fixed it automatically. And Zach replied, who I think is the CEO.
Yeah.
Which is, he's really nice. He replied and they fixed it immediately, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but at least we know we can talk to each other now for more than a minute.
Yes, I know. That's awesome. So I'm going to make sure I call into your show this week.
Yes, and you're on every Monday, right? I'm going to lose you.
Yeah, yeah. And I will tell everybody, thank you for calling in. And I'm going to tell you all about her show as well. Tuesdays and Thursdays, 1 p.m., right? 1 p.m., 1 to 2 p.m. No, it would be 10 a.m. for the West Coast or 1 p.m. if you're on the East Coast. Tuesdays and Thursdays, trending with Maria and Neen. Although right now, Maria has been doing the broadcasting herself. Sometimes she has a co-broadcaster with her. So check it out, trending with Maria and Neen. It is on Tuesdays and Thursdays, 1 p.m. Eastern time or 10 a.m. if you're on the West Coast. Thank you so much, Maria, for calling in. I see the auction clock running again, so I don't know, maybe that's you calling back in or somebody else, so I better wait. Thank you to all of you that took a break from your day to spend it with me. I hope you learned a few things, and I hope it inspired you to maybe call into the show next week. You have to have the Bidchat app. So do me a favor, if you have a smartphone or a tablet, download the Bidchat app. You can get it for the Google Play, through the Google Play Store or through the App Store for Apple devices. Do that. Create an account. It's free to do, and it's free to call in. And as you saw, it was successful today, and I'm so grateful again for Tara, our guest, Tara Clancy. Check her out, nurturingliteracy.com, and she's also on Instagram, and eventually she's going to be starting a YouTube channel where she's going to talk about literacy as well. So please check that out. Thank you. I've got 9 seconds on the auction clock, so I'm going to make sure that somebody is not calling in to talk to me before I end this broadcast. But I want to let you know there are many great programs, including Maria's, that are on Bidchat, so check them all out for the sake of time and out of respect for other shows that may be starting now. I'm going to end this broadcast. So have a wonderful day, and I hope to see many of you. Well, I won't see you. You'll see me. Next week, Monday, every Monday, 1 p.m. Eastern time. That's 10 a.m. on the West Coast. Mark your calendar, and if you can't make it, subscribe to the blog, www.thebreak4moms.com with the number 4. Thank you. Bye.